Welcome to the Business Legends Podcast, where we interview business leaders and entrepreneurs so that you can learn from their successes, become inspired, and meet the people that make change happen. What was that in the middle of my intro, by the way?
I was just thinking that intro was way less obnoxious than normal.
Thank you. Do you want to be more obnoxious? We can try again. We're going to keep going with it. I'm the host, Joe Reese, along with my co-host, the distractor of all distractors, Christian Webb. Say hello to the good people.
Hello. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while, pal. I missed you.
I
missed you. You've been making me fly solo dolo over here. I've been really bummed out about it, to tell you the truth.
Everything's worse ratings too, I noticed.
It hurts because it's true. Today we are joined by our good friend Chris Nadeau with Haversack. Chris, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Sorry for all the things that we've made you put up with thus far, but it's been fun.
You didn't make me drink the V8, so
Well,
I'm
that's
happy
true.
with that.
You know,
That.
so for those of us, for those of our
Like the
listeners,
red juice or the blue juice?
we got. I found a can of V8 and it said free, which is probably the first inclination. It's probably not the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But see, I love Bloody Mary, so I thought I would like it, and I took one sip of it and almost vomited. So I didn't for what it's worth. But
Just so everybody knows, V8 could offer us the right amount of money to sponsor him on our show.
yeah, we would delete this show immediately, Chris. Just so you know,
Yes.
we would re-record, but
Of course.
V8 is disgusting. I just want our listeners to know that. So tell us and our listeners about Haversack. What you do, and when did you get into business?
Haversack is a company that centers around logistics management and technology.
Okay.
Started business 2017 is when I began. Do you want me to go into the whole story?
Absolutely.
Okay.
By the way, same year as us. High five. 2017. Okay, keep going.
2017. So, spent 26 years in the Army, retired from the Army. I was in Texas, and I was at a hiring conference, and I met a VP from Conway Freight, and we hit it off. And he was like, "You ever think of coming into the logistics world?" I was like, "Absolutely not." He said, "But I'll take."
It's a good way to get started.
That sounds super boring.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely not. I don't want to do that.
Absolutely not.
Flash forward.
But somebody told me, like a great mentor said, a company will find you, and they're just going to want
Probably
you.
true. Yeah.
And when they do, go for it. They see the value. They're not putting you through the 6-month hiring process. Look at this guy, like, stayed over the night, called me up, and said, "I want to meet you." He offered me a job. So the job was pretty much learn the industry. I didn't do logistics in the military. I was a combat engineer. So I got a chance to go all over the country. Winnipeg, Canada, Laredo, Oklahoma City, just learning the industry. And it was called the less than truckload industry. Did that for about a year and a half, and then I got promoted to New Orleans. So I ran a center in New Orleans.
Promoted to Party Center, huh?
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast just on New Orleans.
I was gonna
if we
say,
ever wanted
next
to do
podcast.
that.
One to 10. What would you rank New Orleans? Just out of curiosity.
In what way? Boy, that's
In awesomeness.
a 9.
Okay.
A 9.
All right, that's kind of what I expected.
A
Yeah.
9 without a family.
Okay.
With a family,
2.
a 2.
Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
2.5.
Yeah.
So it just great people. It was a great experience going there. Don't regret it at all.
Sure.
My twin girls were born there.
All right.
So we call them our little coon asses.
Nice.
It's a term of endearment there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
It was great. Great experience to be there. And then I got a chance to move to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And work in one of the larger facilities in the industry. So moved the family. Talk about brutal moving 3 kids. I had 3 kids, my son, 3 under 3. Moved here. And then
That drive, man.
the drive, yeah.
12 hours?
You still remember
12
that
hours?
drive, I bet.
Oh, yeah, if that. I mean, you're stopping like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
3 kids. You forgot 3 kids part.
Oh.
You don't just mail kids.
19 hours.
Yeah, 19 days.
Yeah.
You don't poke holes in a box and send it.
No.
that I do, I guess.
We tried, and they kicked
They
us
said it was
back.
they said it
Yeah,
was
they're like,
illegal.
yeah.
They asked for a return address. It got really weird.
I
You
mean,
know,
I said New Orleans, you can do a lot of things. This is not one of them. So
it's the only thing. That's
yeah,
it.
the only thing. So we got here, set up. We found a home in Davidson, beautiful home. Very happy to be here. I was stationed. Me and my wife is in the military too, so we're both stationed at Fort Bragg. And we said if we ever had a chance to go to North Carolina, we would take it. So we
Good
did.
spot.
It is. It's a great spot. So we moved here, bought a beautiful home. Very, very happy. And then
In 2017?
no, it was 15.
15, okay.
2015.
You probably made out good then. I mean,
I was about to say, so now you're.
you maybe
now
had
you're
a
like real
dip
estate.
in 18, but now you're flying high.
Yeah,
Like you're good to
yeah.
go. Yeah.
So, and then Conway Freight was bought by XPO Logistics. And in the beauties of corporate mergers,
Is it like a private equity roll-up company?
No, it was
just another
straight up
logistic
bought.
company. Yeah.
It was
just a
bought.
merger.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
United Rents was owned by Brad Jacobs.
Mm.
He bought Conway Freight
Okay.
and melded it into XPO Logistics.
Mm.
So, yeah, on January 29th, 2016, 7 o'clock in the morning. Not that I remember the date or time or anything.
That seems awfully specific.
Yeah, I was called in office, and I was told that my position was being eliminated in Charlotte.
Oh, wow.
But I could stay with the company and move to Lexington, Kentucky, if I wanted to stay with the company. And I'm like, okay, no move package or anything, completely on my own. And they said, it was 7 in the morning. By the time it was about 7:30, they said, come back at 11 and tell us your decision.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
That's not very.
No.
That seems like an easy choice at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so me and my wife, we went back and we screamed, we cried, we yelled, and we decided not to take the sweetheart deal. So we decided not to move.
Yeah. That's so disrespectful of them anyway.
It was brutal. It was harsh. It was a good lesson, though, because it melds into who I am today. And so then I left, and we started going through the whole process of finding another job. I was going through it. And here's the funny thing. I was getting job interviews. I was getting job offers. I couldn't take them. People, it was like, other trucking companies and stuff, and I just couldn't take it. Then I remember so in the interim of doing this, I found a consulting company. And this guy was like, hey, can you do some consulting for my clients on shipping, on logistics? I was like, sure. So I was like, earning some money, going through it, still trying to find another job. And then that's when the idea of Haversack started to come to fruition. I started to see things in the industry I was unaware of that was kind of problematic.
You're like, I'm already doing a job. I'm just not realizing it yet.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. So I'm going through and I'm helping people, and it felt good. It felt really good. Like, hey, here's how you need to do this, this, and this. And then I had a interview with a big local company I won't name. And I actually was meeting with the president of this company. And I remember he said, meet down South Charlotte, did a phone interview with him. And he said, we'll meet for lunch. Pretty much like, we'll seal the deal, we'll get you on board. So I go down there, I'm all excited. We've all been through the job interview thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm there at the restaurant, I'm in the lobby, 12 o'clock. He's not there. 12:05, 12:10, 12:15. I call his office. I'm like, hey, is he coming? Did I screw this up? He said, no, he's on his way, he's just running late. 12:20, I look through and I see him coming, and he's on his phone. And he walks in, and I go to approach him, and he puts a finger in my face, like, back off.
I hate that anyways. Like.
Yeah. So it was like, so I back away, and he gets off the phone, and he shakes my hand. He goes, oh, sorry about that. He goes, you ready to go sit down and get something to eat? I said, no. I said, I'm leaving. And he's like, he kind of like gives me this look like, what? I said, listen, if you don't see how important this is to me, and that you show up 20 minutes late and put a finger in my face, what it's going to be like if I actually worked for you.
That's a good point.
And I'm like, I'm good.
You probably taught him a lesson that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd like to think so, but
Well,
sometimes
I would
it
hope
goes
so.
where he goes,
Hope so.
but,
Presidents usually do absorb.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Good presidents,
Yeah.
anyways, but
So as I'm walking out, there were two guys, and they're like, that was cool. They didn't see that coming.
that had to make you feel good.
It did.
Yeah.
Did. What made me feel better is he called me the day later and said, I'll hire you right now, sight unseen.
Wow.
Oh.
And I had gone and talked to my wife about it, and we had been talking about the concept of Haversack. She's like, just do it. Let's just go this route. And the reason why I couldn't take a job, and then it hit me later, was nothing would change. Nothing in my life would have changed getting another job. The threat to my family would still be the same. I'm just changing the color of the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the color of the paycheck. They could do it to me all over again. And guess who was one of the companies that offered me a job? Yellow Freight, YRC,
Interesting. Yeah.
who's no longer in business anymore.
Wow.
They would have done it again.
I would have done it again.
For sure.
It taught me, and that came to fruition. So, hence we launched Haversack.
Yeah.
And Haversack was built because once I started consulting with shippers, I started to see there's two options shippers have. You can directly go to the trucking company and negotiate with them directly. Good luck with that. Or you can get what's called a third-party logistics company that manage your freight. Both are problematic. Both put shippers at a disadvantage. And I just saw the greed of the 3PL, how, I was the trucking company once upon a time that did the manipulation with that. So the concept of Haversack is, what if? What if we just pull the veil back? And I deal with shippers and teach them everything about the industry that nobody else wants them to know. Give them the tools the big guys have that they do not want to give the shipper. They hold back the transparency, the control, all of that. Because what I found is the shipper is the backbone of this country. They're the ones employing people. They're the ones moving this economy, not a third-party logistics company that's taking millions from shippers. And the theory is you can do it yourself. We're an in-source solution. I'll teach everything. Right before I came here, I sent this whole email to this vice president of a company and taught him all about the LTL world. Here's everything you need to know. It's not even a client of mine. We're in the pitching process, but it doesn't matter. The passion of what we do is to educate, is to make these companies better. And there's a great company up in Pennsylvania, middle of nowhere, and they're just a good company taking care of people, and they just want to get better. So I could go on for 6 more hours.
No, that's cool. I mean, you give a lot away for free, it sounds like.
We do.
And that kind of like goes with your ethos.
It does. It really, truly does.
You did because you're trying to educate them and make sure they don't get screwed over.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
So before the show, you told us that your company name Haversack came from a story in itself, something with military experience. I've been sitting here thinking about what that could possibly be, and this is the only thing that I've been able to come up with. So Haversack, I'm thinking that there's something with rucksack because you ruck in the military and then have rucksack or something. That's the only thing I got. So how far off am I'm close? Okay, all right, that's cool. That's cool.
So me and my wife were coming up with the name of the company. So we're on our back porch and we're going through, Paramount Logistics and all this, and we're looking it up and see if the name is taken in this. And we actually have a list of all the names. And she just said Haversack, and it hit me. I was like, had never heard the term before. I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, Haversack, it's a backpack. And then I went and I looked up the history. Where did it come from? What's the origin of the word? So if you go all the way back to Civil War, when Europe was changing and you had the Prussian army, and the Prussia became Germany, it started to meld into that. And then immigrants started coming to America. Well, in Ellis Island and all the ports where they were coming in during the Civil War, they were conscripting them straight into the Union Army. They would tell you get citizenship if you join the army after the war. You were a citizen immediately. So they were doing it. So the Union Army had this huge immigrant influence, and the Prussians came with this thing, and they taught the American military about logistics. They said, "Hey, check it out." They said, "We use these things called Uber sacks," and they're like, "Uber, Uber is oat." And they said, well, what we used to do is, when you fed the mules and the horses, the Uber sack would go over the ears and the horse would feed themselves. Well, we took those sacks, refashioned the straps over the ears, and made a backpack. So they became the Uber sack, became our backpack. And what we did is we took it and we put everything in the Uber sack that we needed to go to war. And then when you were out, you just gave the sack and grabbed a fresh one. So it kept our logistics moving fast. Our supply chain became efficient, so we didn't. It shortened it. So they introduced that to American, and the Uber became Haver.
Okay.
So the translation became the Haversack.
Yeah.
Was the first backpack of the Army, and it revolutionized the logistic aspects of the Army.
That's really cool. It's like a combination of your of the culmination of your professional career, because you have the logistic experience as well as the military thing all at once. That's really cool. Naming.
Yeah, so you got lucky landed right on the nail, man.
Yeah.
So and then the concept of Haversack is we give you everything to go to war every day in logistics. We put it in your Haversack and we give it to you. And if you need something else, we're right there with you.
Yeah.
We put another thing in your Haversack. So you always have everything you need in there. All the stuff you never would have gotten before, we give to you.
Yeah, tools and everything that's necessary. That's really neat.
This is worth tons of money to companies too.
Oh, for sure.
They're just getting beaten over the head.
Oh, it's the company up in Pennsylvania. It's like literally cost reduction, 57%.
Wow.
They're like $6 million in spend on this.
Yeah.
So they're looking over $3 million back to the bottom line.
Wow.
And they've been dealing with this one company for years, thinking they've been doing right. Well, then they got bought by a private equity firm, and the private equity firm was like, "Yeah, we need to look at this."
Yeah.
And they put some people in.
Thankfully, they did.
Thankfully, they did, and they went out RFP process, and they found some other people, and we just came back around to them. And I said, "Good people, really good people." So we're looking forward to helping them out. We hope.
How does a company like yours work? Is it like a percentage of reduction?
It is. It's totally contingency based.
Yeah.
So we don't have any contracts. So I go in people. There's no contracts. I believe contracts make you lazy.
That's fair.
In there.
They can.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I call it the Major League Baseball versus PGA. So in Major League Baseball, you can sign a $30 million contract, strike out every day, and still get paid.
Yeah.
Well, the PGA, if you don't play good on Thursday and Friday, you ain't
Not in
playing
the
on Saturday.
tournament. Yeah,
You're out.
That's a
You
really
get
good
cut.
point.
You get cut. You have to perform to make money. So ours is contingency. If I don't save you money, I don't get paid. And we baseline it. It's transparent. We show them. They control. We have the technology in their hands. So every shipment they make, based off baseline, the calculation, they can see if we're saving money. And if I don't save them money, they don't have to pay me. And
That's a really cool strategy. It's just out of curiosity, and this is very, very specific to your business only. I mean, do you ever get peek under the hood of a company and whatever supply chain or logistics company and like everything's running swimmingly and so you can't help them type of thing, or is there's always something going on, like always? So you have no shortage of work, is what you're saying.
No,
That's
no.
cool. It sounds like you've definitely found a hole to plug for sure.
You see how the hiring process happens in companies. There's always
Yeah.
redundancies. There's always mistakes.
For sure.
There's always,
Always.
somebody buttering up something. Like,
Yeah.
So we tell people, like, the industry reacts. It just does what the shipper says. 100% of a company's problems in logistics are internal. They're
Makes
not
sense.
external.
Yeah.
Because the trucking company, we've proved, will do what you make them do.
Right.
And we've been in companies where, like, we go in and we're like, okay, how do you pick your carriers? We asked this one lady, she was up in Minnesota, and the owner's there, everybody's there. How do you pick your, who's going to get the freight? And she goes, whoever brings me the best donuts.
I mean,
And we all paused and we're like, ha ha. And she
That's-
says, no, I'm serious.
yeah.
Whoever brings me the best donuts.
Right.
And we're like, you're kidding. And she said it straight face.
Yeah.
And she lasted about another 3 weeks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
somebody else came in.
Doesn't seem
but-
like a very financial
But
wise
that
person.
is, believe it or not, that's very common.
Yeah, I can see
It's
that.
relationship based. It's who brings the hats, the
Right.
pizzas, the tickets. And the trucking companies are masters at it. And they'll manipulate the people that they can manipulate. And then all of a sudden it's like, we'll show them like, hey, you've got a lower cost carrier. So in our system, the technology that we give them, if they skip over a lower cost, they have to put a comment in, a box pops up. It's like, hey, you're about to make this decision. Tell us why.
Yeah.
And these go to the owner. These go to leadership.
oh, that's cool.
That's
Some
really cool
transparency to
technology.
leadership.
They go straight to them. They get an email like instantly. Boom. You just stepped over $200. And
Just
they'll
that
put
choice
in-
saves them money.
Just that. They'll put, because I said, ...
Yeah. Right.
Mickey Mouse. That's the response they'll send, is how crass they are and how they don't care with it. And we do that to point out, like, hey, Mary, Bill, Bob, once upon a time, they were the solution, but now they're the problem. And I tell everybody, yesterday's solution will become today's problem if you don't look at it. And as soon as somebody says, I've been doing this for 15 years, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. It's almost an
Here
indication
we
that you're a problem, isn't it? Because people get set in their ways. It's just kind of natural. Other than an owner, I mean, a lot of times owners that are at least reflexive can assess things.
At least we have one of those.
Yeah.
That's me.
But you'd be amazed at owners how scared they are of their employees.
Yeah.
They will not make a change. They won't challenge employees because, like, I don't know how to do the shipping. Shipping gets done. I'm going to leave them alone. And we'll actually put $1 million on the table and they won't take it.
Oh wow.
They'll walk away from it. They just don't want to rock the boat.
$1 million savings that they don't take the move.
It's insane.
That is ridiculous.
That's just
is.
fear.
Yeah.
It is. It
But
is.
at that point, they're probably like, well, I'm already making amazing money. Do I really need $1 million more? Like, maybe, but it's like, come on. Like, that seems like a no-brainer choice for me.
You would think.
Especially if they're not doing their job properly.
Yeah, you would think. So.
Is most of your process financial, or do you take in like qualitative considerations as well? And I'll give you an example. And I'm just thinking about the trucking industry in general, or logistics, I guess you might say. But so I used to work in retail, and our carrier was the lowest price carrier, but product would always arrive messed up because they just had all kinds of problems with shipment and things like that.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting it fixed eventually, but we basically threatened them to go with a higher price carrier just so that the product wouldn't get ruined. Like how much of that can you even affect or take into consideration?
Huge aspect.
Yeah.
Huge. So we call that the second and third order effects of logistics.
Yeah.
Once you ship it, you just created 10 problems.
Right.
And now that's where we step in on what we call the back end.
Mm-hmm.
The cost you can't see in the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
How many times you got to call to track something?
Right.
Damages, replacing, reverse logistics. It goes on and on and on. And a lot of times those decisions are made because we haggle over $10 on the freight bill.
Right.
And so one of the things we do when we train people is it's called at-risk revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You say on the pallet it costs $200 a ship, but there's $10,000 worth of revenue on that pallet.
Mm-hmm.
And we score all the carriers. So in the system, it scores them on their on-time pickup, delivery, damages, and invoice errors. And you can see it. So their score is there. And then it breaks down where they're having a problem. So if you've got $10,000 of revenue on it, don't haggle over $10. Go to the one that's at a 90.
Yeah.
That's going to take care of you. We'll take care of those. We'll get rid of those bad guys.
Right.
But we want you to see it. And because shippers, you make them mad, or a customer, you make them mad, they can find your competitor in a click of a mouse.
Oh, sure.
And you're gone.
Yep.
And you lost that over $10.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that. So those are the things that we teach them is like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't make these bad decisions with that. Understand that, there are other things that go on with it. So huge aspect of what we do.
Yeah. Gosh, supply chain logistics is such an interesting field in general, just because there's so many aspects to it, and there's so many things you have to be good at, and so many disciplines you have to pull from at the same time. So it's I envy your ability to work in multiple facets to find the holes to plug. I mean, it's no small thing.
Do you find that do you find a lot of your prospects are like jaded to the I can save you 20-30% on your costs, or do they or because of your experience you're able to kind of get over that?
It's tough.
It's a tough one.
It's tough because that's one of our biggest hurdles that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So you come in and say you're the warehouse guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been doing it 15 years, and then here I come, I can save you 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means you've been doing 30% of a bad job.
Right.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
I just pointed out that you are not good at what you do.
Right.
And immediately get defensive.
Yeah.
Then that is, if it's not driven from the top, the owner saying we will go this direction, they leave it up to them, I don't stand a chance.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want anything to do with me.
Yeah. I mean, it would threaten their livelihood. It would threaten their career.
Well, that's what you think, but nobody ever has lost their job besides the donut lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she needed to go.
She deserved it.
Yeah, she had that coming.
Yeah.
She had that coming.
I am pro donut, but
Making money decisions.
I love donuts. Yeah, I was like, that's all it is. That's okay. I can deal with that. But yeah, it really is. This is a C-level and owner type solution.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they leave it to that person, I don't.
Maybe you should walk in and be like at the manager level and be like, hey, I'll bet you $20,000 I can find 30% of waste under your belt right now.
That'd be an interesting ploy, right?
I bet they'd be
I mean,
like, 20 grand, you say?
20 grand, yeah.
Yeah.
And put the check on the table. Like, here, put an envelope right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
20,
If I don't
20
find
grand.
it in the next 3 months,
I would.
I'll sign
I
this
mean,
check.
I would take that bet because if 30% on a
Whatever
company-
number you always find.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
if
yeah.
it's 15% or 20, whatever that number is.
Yeah.
That'd be a baller move.
That would be.
That would be. Walk in with a suit. You have to look like a gangster. Get like a pinky ring of some
Tommy
sort.
gun under the jacket.
Yeah, just a giant like. All right, let's talk about something else before that metaphor gets carried away.
Yeah, we're going there.
Oh my goodness. So we always like to talk about innovations in the future and things like this. So what do you see happening in the future with supply chain logistics particularly? Like, do you think that there's going to be more problems that are surfaced as a consequence of the way that it's structured, or do you think that things are going to get better before they get worse with respects to not only cost savings but efficiencies and things?
One
like
of the
that
things
in
I was
the
going to say earlier, I'm super surprised that AI hasn't taken a job on picking carriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we're kind of angling towards. We hear all the time is, there's so many ways to ship something.
Mm-hmm.
parcel, full truckload, less than truckload, all this. And a lot of times that's where people, they just get it wrong. They don't understand the industry. So one of the innovations that we're working on is what's called Mode AI. So we want the shippers to be able to put in the parameters, general, whatever it may be they're shipping, a box of donuts, and then put it in, and then hit analyze. And then it gives them every single mode in the industry, presents it, 12 of them. And then it's like little tiles up there. And then it disqualifies the ones that the donuts cannot move in, and it gives them a reason why. And then it says, here's the ones that can move in, and here's the aspects. If you move it, it's going to be 3 days longer in transit, but 50% cheaper. And it gives them all the aspects of it. Here is everything. Make the decision in there. Of what matches for you. But it's always the education part. Here's why.
You're like, I don't want to use the system.
Yeah. But another thing that I'm thinking about is that, I mean, in that specific example, they might not go with a 3 day longer one because 3 day old donuts get stale.
Absolutely,
but there's things to consider with that. With the aspects.
All the aspects. So they have to understand that the price has consequences, and understand what each of the industries will drive, and then carriers, LTL carriers in themselves. Not all LTL carriers are created equal. There are different ones. There are parcel LTL, there's volume, and then there's service. Pick the wrong one, and not knowing what their business models are, and you're going to create a problem. Like a volume carrier is, say, like you ship something from here, Charlotte, to California. Well, that California trailer is not going to leave the dock until it's completely full. So your shipment could sit on that trailer for 14 days waiting for 10 other shipments to fill that out before it moves. And so that's what people that get mad. It's like, it's delayed. Well, you picked a volume carrier. Of course it's delayed. A service carrier is every single day, it's got to go. It cannot sit on the dock.
They just didn't know the difference.
They don't know the difference. They don't know the difference in there.
Such basic stuff that really, like, you just know because you've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And they just, like, they're making huge mistakes just not knowing.
Just not knowing.
That's interesting. And blaming it on them, probably.
Oh, yeah. Blame goes all the way around. Now the blame game starts.
Yeah, everybody blames everybody for everything, it seems like. Here's an interesting kind of off-the-wall question for you, and then I want to talk a little bit about future technologies and where you think that's going to go. But you're in the military for 26 years, so doing something completely different. It sounds like you weren't really doing anything logistical at all. But how did your experience in the military like assist you with your professional career now? Was there anything that you learned along the way that you apply towards the supply chain logistics field, or do you think they're just two completely separate professional careers?
That's I get asked that a lot because of my tie to the military and veterans, and they say,
Sure.
One of the things that whenever I talk to veterans, what I teach them is bring over the certain aspects of who you are and what you've become. Don't bring everything over. It doesn't apply. You're just going to make everybody mad trying to bring over being a soldier or an airman or marine, whatever, into the civilian world. It doesn't work. Bring over, you're going to show up on time. You're going to present yourself
not 20
well.
minutes late like the guy at the lunch.
Not like that. Yeah. You're going to be on time. You're articulate, attention to detail. You can follow standards and instructions and things like that. Those are the good things that you learned in the military, and that's what I have taken away. You don't want to run a military organization in the civilian world. And I see that's a mistake that a lot of military people that spend a lot of time in, they try to bring that over, that it applies. It doesn't. Okay? You got to leave that behind, the lingo, the jargon, the how you act on it. Leave it, just take the good things. And then that's how you apply it. Because if I ran Haversack like I ran my military units, nobody would work for me. It would be veterans, and they would get tired of it too.
Right.
Also.
They're like, I already did that once, but
I did that once.
Yeah.
Good. We're good with that one. And I think that's why veterans sometimes struggle to get jobs. And they end up just sticking around military bases and being contractors, government contractors and stuff, because it becomes a single group in there. So, when I look at it, it's that attention to detail. And then the respect factor. Military has a lot of respect in there. And to remember where you come from, and there's people that will treat you bad, and there's bad situations you're in. Don't go in and create that and control it as a business owner. So those are the things that I've taken away. It's not so what you learn, what you bring is the things that you taught in there.
Yeah, that's a really great way to outlook to look at the way that you carry yourself and move forward and things like that. I'm sitting here wondering if there would have been a career within the military that would have helped you with supply chain and logistics or something like that, like a what was it called, MOS? Is that right?
Yeah, MOS,
yeah, something that
I didn't realize I actually did it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
being a leader, I was enlisted. I was a platoon sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major in the military, and when you're moving 3,000 soldiers to Iraq,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of logistics goes into that.
Sure, yeah,
The timing, the aspect, understanding, the beans and bullets of supplying people, and generally that fell on me. I didn't realize I was doing it. Was just a subtask.
That's
just
interesting.
Came with the job, so you don't realize you did. I did a ton of it.
Mm-hmm.
That really applied back to, and you don't realize the critical nature of something supplying a soldier for life.
Mm-hmm.
That's so they can survive. Well, it's the same thing in the civilian world. The business needs. We were talking about the packaging of one of our clients,
Mm-hmm.
and if it didn't get there in time, the line shuts down.
Right.
Same, life and chips,
Mm-hmm.
but it still matters.
Mhm.
If you miss that time, people's lives become impacted
Yeah,
with it.
for sure.
You can't, you can't take the importance of one and apply it to the other. They're all equally important to people.
Yeah,
So
it is interesting how seemingly two different careers that are so different from one another, they still have overlap in certain situations if you kind of look for them.
Yeah.
So what do you think's next for Haversack? I mean, are you happy with the consultative nature of what you do now, or do you think that you guys are going to angle towards something new and different in the future, or even adding in? I don't know if you guys do much in the way of what's called boat freight or whatever, harbor freight.
International.
International.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys do
All
much in the way-
competitors, plug your ears.
yeah.
I've got a saying in Haversack that there's never a day two.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a day one. And the moment you stop, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. Somebody will catch you. So we're a solutions-based company, and every single day our clients drive us because no shipment is the same.
Right.
Every shipment's got its own unique problems, and that's what we've really hinged ourselves on. Is people call us, and like I said, it creates 10 problems, and you got to fix them every single day. So you have to evolve.
She's like innovating with the customer.
You have to. Yeah. Every customer is different. Every customer, I tell people, I said, we move everything from chocolate-covered peanuts to bulldozers.
Oh wow.
And everything in between.
Yeah.
And everything has its own unique aspect to it. You don't have one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
I have so much trouble explaining that to people, or maybe they just don't listen. I do
both.
on the marketing side. I do most of the consulting, and we do a lot of custom packages. So I'll be talking to whoever, right? Somebody who's trying to create this product and then market it for $1 million or whatever. And I'm like, have you thought about who your audience is? Who are you selling this to? And they're like, no, this is the product I want to create. And I'm like, so you're just creating a product, and then you're just going to throw it into the market. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, no.
That's not the way it works.
And it's funny. It's like, I go in and I'll pitch people, like, okay, what are you going to do for me? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to do for you.
Mm-hmm.
You start talking first. You tell me what your problems are.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to follow your lead. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. Because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You got to tell me what your problems are, and I'll create the solution. I don't have one size fits all. I'm sorry, I don't. If you're looking for that, you got to go somewhere else. But start talking.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's funny. I built the company on yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when we were young and we started out, I was pitching to some companies. I had no business being in there.
Mm-hmm.
Not at the point.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah. So I'd be in there, and some of the employees be there, and I'm pitching, and they're like, "You guys do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely, we do that."
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel them. They're like, "We don't do that."
Behind you, they're like, no.
And then it's like, yes. I'd say yes.
There's a very specific reason I'm laughing.
The first 3 years of our business, I was the yes man on everything. And then we learned it all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're like, "Why did you say yes to that?" And I said, "Yes gives us a chance.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yes gives us a chance to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
No is forever.
Mm-hmm.
If I say no, I can't come back later and say, oh, by the way, guess what I can do now?" They're like, "No, you can't."
Only entrepreneurs and smart salespeople understand that.
Yeah.
It's a rare understanding.
It is. It's not that you're lying. Everybody's like, well, July, I'm like, listen, I can back away from yes.
Mm-hmm.
I can just simply tell them, yeah, I thought I could, but currently the solution is it's not going to allow it.
In my opinion, it's not a lie if you say yes, and then as soon as you leave on the way home, you're already learning.
Yeah,
Like, how do I do this?
Or making your business partner do
Yeah,
it.
because we had a lot of social media and Google Ads contracts when we first started 8 years ago. We still get those every now and then. But then websites started to randomly pop up, and they were like, "Will you do my website as well?" And I knew if I didn't say yes, they were going to take the Google Ads somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, we knock out websites." And then I was like, "How in the world do you make a website?" And then over the next month, we were just like studying, and that was our first website. He said he loved it. We got lucky, and then we're like 100 and some websites in now easily.
Yeah.
So now we have an entire development team. Like he kicks tail. Like it's just yes is turned into something.
It does. Yes gives you a chance to succeed. It does. No is forever. You just can't reverse it. And we grew the company on yes. We grew the company on the opportunities that it gave us. And then when you do solve it, it feels good.
Yeah, it gives you like a challenge. You
He
know?
didn't like it at first, but it grew on him.
Well, I want to go ahead and tell that story. So Christian and I have been best friends since we were 21. So we've known each other for 2 decades
Since
almost.
we were heathens.
We're still heathens, but that's another
catching
story.
that. That's cool.
Oh,
It works.
More mature heathens.
we're more mature heathens.
It works.
Closet heathens. But I would be working. I would be building campaigns or something, and he'd come knocking into my office. He, we smelling weird here, and I'd look at him and go,
What'd you do?
no. I would just say no. Whatever you're about to say, the answer is no. And he'd be like, so the first example of this that I can remember, we were only in business for 6 months at the time, probably. And he's like, so you think you could run LinkedIn ads? And I was like, I have no experience doing that. He's like, how long do you think it'll take you to learn? And I went, I don't know, like a week. And he's like, so
6 hours.
you're gonna no. He's like, so you're gonna have to have this all done by tomorrow. Good luck. And I'm like,
Nice.
but
He did.
I had it done. I had it done, and they were good too.
And we had a contract.
Yeah, we had a contract, and they were good too. Like it wasn't, but it took me a while. But I don't know. I think it's important. We're very lucky, we have each other, but it's very important for us to push each other, and our roles in our company are very conducive to our personalities because he does development, I do operation type.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier that we just keep going back and forth on. We're a retainer model, and it comes with like a month-to-month contract. But we've wanted to do some kind of like partnership model like you do. We just haven't ever made the shift. But it'd be really cool to be like, this is what it is. This is one fee for the next 6 months, and this is what we're going to accomplish for you. Or we want a percentage of X. We've just never done it.
Yeah.
Never pulled the trigger on it. I always thought it'd be cool though.
It's good in the aspect of you don't have to argue about anything. Nobody questions what they're paying you. In there, at the end of the day, they're writing the check, and it's like you earned it. I'm giving it to you, and here's what it also does: the P&L. You don't ever want to be the biggest line item on a P&L because come September to December, you're on the chopping block.
Right.
They're looking to what can we get rid of. And they're like, what is that right there?
That seems like a big number.
That's a big number. Yeah, we got to look at that. And if somebody can't come back and say, you're not touching that, that's value.
He just saved us $3 million.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yeah. And then, okay, because year 2 for us, we go to a subscription fee. So then after the gain share is over, they get to keep all the rest of the savings. My job now is to keep that cost leveled forever and show value, and then they pay us the retainer. So we go from that to a retainer. Well, the only way I keep that retainer is value, and you got to show that value every single day, or it's gone. And we have lost clients because we failed to show that value with that.
Yeah, that's a very we don't talk about that often on the show because we tend to try to focus on successes and things like that, but it's an ugly fact of business that you're not always going to hit a home run with stuff, and it's a tough reality to get used to. Is that
base hits are good too, man.
Yeah, sometimes
They are.
yeah,
They are. No, hey, dimes equal dollars.
that's true.
They do, and you have to you always look at like what's the lifetime revenue of somebody,
Right.
and if say it's $1,000 a month, but they're willing to pay that for 20 years and beyond.
That adds up.
It adds up.
Yeah.
It adds up. And you fight for it. And you feel good about the value that you're giving. They'll keep paying it. They'll always be there with that. So that's the one thing that I always try to teach people is like, value. The moment you don't have value, you're gone. It's over. So you have to communicate consistently. You're always looking, hey, here's the next best thing. Here's what I'm doing. And then value is sometimes just, I got another option. I got another thing. Like we're launching an app. So a truckload tracking app.
Oh, wow.
We've been developing for a long time. Finally got to the point where we can pull it off. And we're just going to give it to them. No cost to you. Here's just another thing we're doing to make you better.
Wow.
In there.
Yeah.
And
That's a huge value add, proposition as well. Is that it's like by the way, you're just gonna get this.
You got to think though, like our biggest customers, you would need it to be something big, or they wouldn't even see it as a value add.
For sure.
And it'd have to be like real. Like it couldn't just be like an ebook.
Yeah. Couldn't just be like a newsletter or something like that. No, that's an excellent point. We're talking about the line item conversation. You ever get like a owner of one of these companies or something like that, where you've saved them a couple $1 million, and it's not that it's almost like you give them like a little bit of remorse, like, oh, I could have been saving this all this time, like a little bit of sadness because you save them $3 million, but they could.
The good thing is they'll continue to save that $3 million forever now.
For the future, right? Yeah.
Now it's resaved. Now they get it all.
Right.
Now my job is level and make sure that they don't. And that's the thing is we tell them is like, okay, you made $3 million. You could leave me tomorrow. Well, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's going to go right back up.
It's going right back. And it's going to get worse. Because if you give a carrier a second chance at you, the carriers like us. They deal with me, and they'll manipulate the pricing. I negotiate on behalf of our clients. That's what we do. But if you give them you kick me out, you give Old Dominion or FedEx a second chance at you, oh, they're pound of flesh and then some.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna make it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're coming back with a vengeance.
Wow.
In there.
Interesting.
So be careful.
Yeah. Do you think that's just because of the size of the carriers? Because Old Dominion's so big and FedEx is so big and things like that, or because I was thinking about it, it's like most small businesses at least, if you gave them a second opportunity, then they would go above and beyond to try to prove their value.
No, if they come back, they came back for a reason.
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting that they kind of that they're so large they kind of hold the eggs, so to speak.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do, and it's vicious. And I tell people, it's like, we go in and it's like, oh, I got great pricing with FedEx. I'm like, no, you don't.
Nobody
And I'm
does.
thinking in the back of my head, I'm like,
nobody does.
You think you
Yeah.
with your $500,000 to spend out negotiated FedEx?
Yeah, no way.
What do you think? It's like
no
it's
way.
Like, oh, yeah, we raked them over the coals. We got a great deal. Negotiated. I was like, okay. And I always ask them, I said, name one person you ever heard that walked out of a car dealership and said, man, I got screwed on that deal.
Right.
Everybody leaves a car dealership with the greatest deal in the world.
Right.
Oh, I got everything I wanted.
Yep.
Sure you did. And turn around and look what you just left.
Right.
A Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
How do you think they pay for that?
Right.
Stuff full of beautiful cars.
Yeah.
This. Yeah. They pay for it because you just got screwed on the car.
Six-figure commission sales
That's
reps.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's fun. It's funny you should mention that. I told you I worked in the car industry for a while, and every time I've bought a car in the last 5 years, I actually do walk out of the dealership and be like, oh, I got screwed. Because I just know what's going on. I just bought a company Audi like a year ago, and the whole time, like, I knew exactly what was going on. They iced me before. It's an hour and a half to get the finance. I'm like, I'm looking at the finance manager, and he's just sitting there twiddling his thumb, and I'm like, I know what's happening here. Yeah. It's just, it is what it is. Well, Chris, we're running out of time here. Man, you've been a spectacular guest, and I feel like I've learned so much about your industry. I always try to sign off with a fun or funny question, I suppose. So this is where I stall, and I try to come up with something, but I have nothing for supply chain logistics. Funny question. Help me.
I don't have any funny questions.
Why not? You've just been sitting there, and you haven't been on the show.
Yeah, about the Army.
There's plenty of funny questions about the Army.
I'm gonna stay out of that one. That's how I get canceled immediately. I don't know if you knew that or not. That is the.
Well, here's the thing. I'll let you off the hook. So
okay.
With the military,
I'll come up with one.
Why do they put safety clips in your rifles?
Safety clips.
Those little safety clips in the rifle so y'all don't mess up.
What do you mean?
Those little things that they put in where the round goes, the little green thing or yellow thing.
Oh, that's for like trainees.
Oh, is it for trainees?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they
Seems
will
pretty
school 'em.
reasonable, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get in the military have never fired a gun before. So,
Yeah.
you know.
I've always wondered why they put those little green things in there.
Yeah, that's all training.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just in case they
Are you
drop
talking
it.
about
or
a
something.
chamber marker? Is that
Yeah,
what
it's a
you're talking
chamber plug. It's called
Yeah.
a chamber
Yeah,
plug.
yeah,
It
yeah.
goes in, it sticks into the chamber.
Oh, okay.
And the bolt goes up against it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a little flag sticks out.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
thing sticks out. It's
I have
like
one
a-
of those in my pistol right
I always
now.
wonder what those are.
Yeah.
You're super safe, which is also a good thing. with
Yeah.
guns.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, civilians, absolutely.
Yeah.
You should have that. I've got those in mind. Yeah, because I got kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I always noticed Army. I guess Army's the only one that can afford them. I guess because I don't think they're in the Navy or Air Force or Marine Corps.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it, but,
Just
yeah.
I just saw them. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was actually a drill sergeant in the Army.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so yeah, the things you'd see.
Did your
put
throat ever bleed?
What's that?
Did your throat ever bleed?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ears, nose, eyes.
Yeah,
would
so they
raise.
get crazy, man.
Yeah.
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 I'm still coming up with my funny question here, but
Okay.
I saw a video on Instagram of a drill sergeant that was just trying to mess with his what do you call it, trainees, I guess, or cadets, I guess. And he had a rubber chicken, and you know they had to stand at attention or whatever. And he'd come in with the rubber chicken and just you know, just like in their face, trying to get them to laugh and do push-ups.
That's probably Air Force.
I don't know. I don't know what it was,
Yeah, no,
but
that
it was making me
That would have
laugh
been a
though.
smack
Like,
to the side of the face if it was Army or Marine Corps.
yeah, it is what it is. So, okay, of all the things you did in the Army, what thing are you most proud of, or what was your?
That's not funny.
I'm trying to. Well, it's not funny.
Oh,
but-
no. Funniest
Here we go.
drill instructor story.
Funniest drill instructor story. There you go. All right. Yeah, there we go. God, it took me a while to
How
come
you
up with
weak,
this one.
bro.
Okay, all right. So when you get the trainees,
Yeah.
you bring them from the reception, and it's called the shakedown.
Okay.
And that's where you scream and yell at it, kick all this stuff around. So you're always looking for ways to
Mess with them.
mess with them.
Yeah, I love this.
So one guy came over that we had a guy that was in our supply room, and he looked like a private. He kept his hair cut like a private, and we'd always yell at him like, "Man, grow your hair out," because we're always yelling at you like you're one of the trainees.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody came up with an idea. It's like, "Hey, let's take him, put him in the reception station, and like he's like a problem,
Mm-hmm.
and like you're shipping, you're going." And nobody knows who he is,
Mm-hmm.
and he acts like all crazy in this, and then he goes, and he's in the shakedown.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in there. Then all of a sudden he starts acting up, and then he freaks out, and he just takes off running.
Oh,
Now,
God.
where we were, we had these huge fields behind our barracks for like physical fitness and training and stuff. And he just takes off running through the field, like, "I'm out of here," and he just runs away. And then one of the guys comes out of the barracks with an M16
I knew it. I knew it.
and
this was gonna
goes,
go here.
I got him. Now, a blank in an M16, if you don't have what's called a flash suppressor on it,
Mm-hmm.
this little red box that goes on the end,
Yeah.
if you take it off, when you fire it, it sounds just
Loud.
like a live round.
Yeah.
It's loud. Now, it'll only fire once. It won't recoil, so you got one shot at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, guy's running through the field. Guy comes up, I got him. Boom.
Oh, God.
And the guy like collapses in the field.
Oh, God.
And
I
then
knew you
our
already
leader's
knew that.
like, "Go out, get the truck, and
Oh, my
throw him in the
God.
woods or
Oh, my
whatever."
God. Oh, my God.
All the privates like start crying and
Oh,
freaking
God.
out. And the guy's like, "Anybody want to run?" Walking around. Privates are like, they don't question.
Probably
that.
pissing themselves.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
they're
I think I
freaking
would
out.
be too. Jesus.
So then, one day, we get a call. Hey, you got to come to the headquarters.
Oh, God.
So we all go to the headquarters, and our commander, our battalion commander's like, "All right, we just got a call from a family member that you guys shot somebody."
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Y'all were like, what?
What? And we had to tell him the story.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh.
Oh, so, yeah.
I mean, it's pretty funny after the fact, but at the time, like
after
that's-
the
it's a
fact,
good
we're
prank.
like, "Oh, we never thought."
Yeah.
You know, of course, you don't think of it hindsight.
Yeah.
That somebody would call.
Yeah.
I mean, it went all the way to the post commander.
Oh, my God.
It was like 2-star general.
Yeah.
Is like,
Oh,
find out, did they
surprised y'all-
shoot somebody?
Yeah, I'm surprised
Yeah.
you get flogged for that.
Oh,
Like-
we all thought we were dead. We all thought we were getting relieved, kicked
Yeah.
out of the, being a drill sergeant and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great idea at the time.
At the time, sure.
So drill instructing is so weird because like all these people are normal people, right?
Right.
But you're so like in like a weird psychosis when you're in there
Mhm.
that
Oh,
that you don't even realize they're real people. But like sometimes you remember like this is a person, he's a family, he's
Yeah.
like, but he's
Yeah.
like for some reason he's like yelling at me gutturally,
Right.
and like
Yeah.
he's drooling a little bit, and he's like cussing this close to my face, and I'm like, this guy's not my friend.
Right.
And then you graduate and they're like talking to you normal, and it's
Yeah.
like this really
Interesting.
weird thing.
Dynamic,
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting.
That's the way it is, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a cartoon almost.
It is.
Needless to say, we're glad you're with Haversack now. So.
Me too. It's
Yeah.
a good transition.
Yeah,
Good
very good.
transition.
Let's get some grub, John.
Yeah, let's get some grub. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey,
It's
thanks
awesome.
for having
Thank
me. It
you.
was awesome. Thank you very much.
And you are an awesome guest. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Very pleasant story. I have a quick meeting, and then I'll meet y'all there. It's not going to take long.